Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tuesday's training, and this is a very special edition. I like to call it Team Training Tuesday. I also call it Applied Near Life. And this evening, we are going to have a panel of doctors to assist with applying what we've got. My name is Esa Zanambasi. I'm also a medical doctor. We are celebrating men for the whole of November, and that's why we call this particular month Movember. And it's one of the occasions or one of the opportunities that men have to create awareness around health issues such as prostate cancer. Well, we belong to a family called the Near Life family. And we, as I said last week, like to encourage everybody to be proactive and not reactive. So our approach is prevention and becoming more aware and taking responsibility. And it's an awesome family that we want to introduce you to. And I hope that there are many guests. I just want to reiterate one of my passions, and that is to see healthy families. I believe that the men play a very important role. So the important role of healthy men in the wealth of the family cannot be overstated. Because a lot of men take on a lot of responsibility, as is the right thing to do. But at the same time, due to modern lifestyle, a lot of men are sick and tired of being sick and tired. So here we are as a family looking to have men lead us to great health and great wealth as well. But it's becoming harder and harder, in my opinion. So Jim Rohn famously said that your life does not get better by chance, it gets better by change. And so perhaps that's what we want to show you. In the past, well, families were very proud to be together and to see children grow. Unfortunately, things seem to be changing. So my question is, what are we going to do about it? And how can we involve not only the women to look after the children, because they too are battling, but everybody. I want us to make it a family affair. Now, I just wanted to also point out that life will only change when you become more committed to your dreams than you are to your comfort zone. So perhaps it's a good time of introspection. What are your dreams? And yes, where is your comfort zone if you're in a comfort zone? So again, I'm reiterating this point that the most important first step is an examination of our mindset. Very important. So what constitutes a healthy lifestyle? Those are the diet, adequate rest and sleep and relaxation, and the opportunity to take a break and perhaps take a holiday. Then exercise, and then stress management. And of course, our family called the Near Life family is famous for the world's leading whole food nutrition supplements. So we want to introduce those to the visitors on this call. And for those who are looking at this for the first time, welcome. We are privileged to have a scientific advisory board that research and develop everything that we have. In fact, Near Life was the first company in the industry of nutrition to have this kind of setup where there's a board of scientists that are mandated with the task of producing the very, very best. And so everything that they give us is based in nature and backed by science. And I just want to point this Neolife difference that makes all the difference. All the nutrition is at a cellular level. That is a huge difference. So visitors and guests on the call tonight, and all of you who are looking at this for the first time, you'll get to know what we talk about when we say nutrition at a cellular level. So I want to introduce the panel of doctors. I've introduced myself, and I'm going to ask each one to introduce themselves as well, and to let us know briefly how come they are in this family called the Neolife family. Because, you know, just speaking for myself, I remember very well that being taught nutrition at medical school wasn't a big feature, you know? It wasn't a big feature. And also being taught what we have learned. So I'm going to hand over to the panel, and I think each one of them is here, and we can stop the share temporarily so that we have them show up on the screen well. I hope that is possible, but these are the handsome gentlemen, and I've put them in a very specific order of perhaps seniority, starting with the most senior. And but let me have them introduce themselves as I stop the share, and then we can have a good discussion. Okay, awesome. Right, welcome. I'll start by requesting Dr. Edward Nambasi to introduce himself. Yes, it is very special to me. You might wonder at the surnames. We do share a surname. He lent me his. So Dr. Edward, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for that introduction. Welcome to the call, everybody. My name is Edward Nambasi. As she mentioned, I'm in the medical profession, in which I've been for longer than I care to remember. My special interest is that I deal mainly with obstetrics, but I'm also quite passionate about looking at health holistically. We've been in this Neolife business for quite a while, and the reason we started was she started, and when you live with somebody under the same roof and she cooks your food, you better listen to what she tells you. So tagged along, and my health has never looked back. I am in my, what do you call it, the 6th floor of life, and heading towards the 7th. But I'm still quite active in hospital work. I still do calls, and as you can well imagine, obstetrics is a high demand job. But I love what I do, and because of the nutritional foundation we have, I enjoy good health and quite a lot of energy. So that is my particular interest in this. Back to you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll have Dr. Baker Kabugo introduce himself.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Cesar, for hosting me today. I'm really so privileged to be part of you in this discussion. And everyone, I'm really so grateful being with you this evening. My name is Baker Kabugo, been in practice for about 25 years, but currently I retired. When I say retired, it's active practice, but then I went back to retire myself. When I say retire, put on new tires after finding Neolife, giving me solutions to whatever I was looking for when I was still very actively practicing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I'll really grill you a little bit later on how you switched the paradigm. That's a very interesting story. Dr. Lawi, the floor is yours to introduce yourself, please. What is the challenge? Can't you unmute? Let's try again. Okay, just give me a moment. I hope I didn't not unmute him. Just a minute. You will be unmuted. I need to search.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invite. Thank you for having me on this call. Like you introduced me, my name is Dr. Lawi. I'm from Kenya, and I started this business some time back when I was at the university in Makerere. I'm so honored to be in this call because unlike my previous, like the previous professionals, I only practiced for 1 year, so then I retired. So happy that we also have another retiree in the call, and I've been able to use the products. I've been able to use the products to change people's health in so many countries, and it's a privilege to be in Neolife. I'm a part of the Neolife family, and the products have done so much to me, myself personally, and the people who surround me. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Right. Thank you very much. So I want to start by saying that all of us through medical school were taught a certain way, and then we come across to near life and learn a totally different paradigm. My personal story was that I wanted what Neolife had to offer, and I was actually looking actively for it. But I also know that all of you gentlemen perhaps needed a bit of convincing to be, to come across to say nutrition is the way to go. So I would like perhaps to start with Dr. Mbeka Kabugo, who has an agriculture and nutrition center. What convinced you that perhaps the patients that we are seeing really need what we've got and not so much the medications? I mean, your story is phenomenal as it is.
Thank you, Dr. Eseza. Well, to answer that straight, I worked on a number of projects on sexual and reproductive promotion, and I was basically focused on working on the promotion of maternal and child health. And I was working with an NGO. I was in one of those topmost places in an NGO, and I was managing that project. So I realized that the biggest problem that led to maternal and child death was not medically related. It was nutritionally related. So it was the issue of nutrition that was leading to the high number of mortality in mothers and in children. But at the same time, I had the privilege of teaching doctors. And I realized that we have three categories of disease. We have infectious diseases. Those are diseases that come as a result of an infection, and that is detected when we have either bacterial or viral or fungal or whatever. But we also have metabolic syndrome. Those are systemic diseases. These are diseases that attack body systems due to lack of nutrients that are supposed to service that system to be working optimally. And the third one, I realized we have autoimmune. Autoimmune, it is the immune system which is getting against body tissue, all body systems. And this is a contribution of the toxins that we use in our products that we use day to day, and also nutritional. Though when we are in school, we are told that it is a contribution of genetics. But I personally believe it is not totally the genetics. No, I believe it's around genetics, so will contribute around 9 to 11%. But the biggest percentage is nutrition and toxicity around us. So when we are in medical school, we focus on medicine. And basically, all the years, you are trained to use medicine. But the conditions that you're working on, they are not medical. It's nutritional. Actually, when we are discussing, I always tell people, how do we acquire metabolic syndrome and from where? Do we get these diseases from hospital? No, we get them from home. And what is the cause? Nutrition. But when you go to hospital, are you given food? Are you given nutrition? So in hospital, we normally manage the symptoms. That's why we say we are managing your blood pressure, we are managing your glucose levels. But what about treatment? It is the system which is failing due to lack of the nutrients. So now, changing the paradigm, that's why I had gone to make an agronutrition and farmers training center, because I realized that the solution would be in farming, that people would get the nutrients they need. That's when I started that. And in that course, now I get the ultimate solution with the scientific backup. And that comes in with the supplementation. Many of us in Africa, we wonder why people from the Western, they live longer, yet they do not have at least fertile land to grow much of this food stuff to have their nutrition catered for. It is because they supplement. So now having supplementation on the table and being knowledgeable in body system, I found a solution, and that's why I'm on board and moving ahead. I like supplementing for the solution it gives. What I wanted in my farm, I get it in the tabs and in the capsules. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So, you know, I just wanted Dr. Lawi to chip in here and say, what advice would you give a young man? Because we are in the month of November. Internationally, it is recognized as Men's Health Awareness Month. And a lot of people imagine that their disease conditions start the day they set foot in the doctor's office or something like that, you know. The other doctors will also pitch in on this one. But Dr. Lawi, how would you advise somebody below 40 years old what to do from what you have learned, from what you now know?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I just wanted to specifically talk to the men in the forum, and you said I should stick to those people who are below 40. Most people below 40 think they are well off, they are healthy, they have nothing, no problem with them, because just because you wake up in the morning and you are physically okay doesn't mean you're okay. One of the things that we are doing is in my area of work, encouraging men in this month of November to have the following tests done. You know, check their cholesterol levels. You know, most people walk around and they don't know that their cholesterol levels are high. Test for their prostate health. Test for things like hepatitis. You know, check for their blood sugar levels. You know, there's a time in Dar es Salaam we had a random blood health cup, and it would surprise you that out of the people who participated, 40% of those who went for checkup had hypertension and high blood sugar levels. People should also start checking for their liver and kidney function tests. So these are things that we should start to be getting awareness about. And
Sorry, Dr. Lawi has faded away. Okay, so let's just ask Dr. Nambasi. Similar question.
yes.
Oh, okay. Dr. Lawi, we lost you a little bit, but let me just move to Dr. Nambasi now and say a very similar question. It's just that you are in the, you called it yourself the sixth floor, approaching the seventh floor. And I must say, you can look back and remember how you were in your 30s and 40s. And how would you advise a gentleman who is perhaps in his 60s today? Would you tell him that it is too late? Let him just continue with chronic medication? What would you say to him?
Well, thank you very much for that. As I said, a holistic approach that would start with what you believe in. And I'm unashamedly a born-again Christian, so that helps as well to get in touch with your Creator. But more importantly, to look around your home, the toxins that are around, that might impact your health. Look at your relationships, relationships with your spouse, with your children, because in your 60s, you'll be grown up now. And then look at what you eat, your nutrition, as Dr. Kabugo mentioned, very important. But something also equally important is that no matter how well we eat, you are still going to find gaps in the food because it doesn't have all the nutrients because the soil's been depleted. And that's where supplementation becomes important. And Neolife is arguably the leader in nutrition because we are food-based and it's what is bioavailable and assists the body. So as you reach your 60s and beyond, certain changes happen in the body, degenerative changes. Your bone structure becomes thinner. You get other degenerative diseases. Your cognitive function, that is the brain function, begins to deteriorate as well. And we've been schooled to understand that, oh, this is inevitable, old age and what have you. But you'll find people who are older than us, in their 80s, 90s, still mentally sharp, physically active and running around. And most of those you'll find that differences, they've been looking after their life holistically, as I've mentioned, their relationships are good, and they don't believe that becoming, aged is something that is inevitable. So yes, the physical changes will take place, but you can slow down the rate at which they happen by actually going on a good nutritional program and also picking up on the point Lawi was mentioning. Some diseases do not give you any symptoms overtly until it's too late. So that's why a physical check is very, very important. And in men, that's the gland that's mentioned over and over is the prostate gland, which may not give you any warnings until it's rather late. So PSA tests are important. And people shy away from the actual examination because it involves a very uncomfortable examination. But men over your 50s, it's better to subject yourself to that examination once every 2 or 3 years rather than wait until things explode. So no, to answer your question, it's never too late to start looking after your health. And as the old English saying goes, a stitch in time saves 9. Prevention is better than cure. And no matter how late you start, the body is fantastic at healing itself. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that goes for everything, including an exercise program, including changing dietary habits. I mean, many men in Africa are taught that a sign of prosperity is eating meat until it comes out of your ears, right? Eating lots of meat and eating lots of those very nice processed foods, yeah? Because by the time you can afford loads of cake and bread, you must be doing very well. Last week, I talked about the metabolic syndrome, and I said it's a very touchy topic, belly fat. I know, Dr. Kabugo, you've chosen to make that your focus. In fact, if there's anything that will get me running back to Kampala, it will be to work with you on that one. But anyway, we can do it remotely. I'll be here and we'll do things on Zoom. But yes, it's a growing problem. I've examined it in all sorts of ways from all sorts of angles. I don't think the general population appreciates the gravity of what we are seeing. A lot of people come to us and say, Doc, all I need to do is to lose this part of my body. Everything else is fine. Okay, so gentlemen, starting with Dr. Kabugo, who's made that his focus. How are we going to change that? Using what we know in our family, how are we going to help people? How are we going to reach out to people and get them to see what we are saying and hear what we are saying?
Well, that is a very nice question. How are we going to get to people? It all starts with us. It all starts with us. First of all, you also said it, that it has to be the mindset. How are we set? How are we focused to helping people? That is one. Then second, I have always been, as I was working with NGOs, I was always open because I realized that the problem was coming from worse to worse. And I always used to address it. So it is up to us to address the issue to every person that comes across us. And that should be in its entirety, not half. That is one. Then two, it all goes back to making money. We are trained that we are supposed to be earning from medicine. And that's why you'll find a prescription of the same drug with different categories or different brands being prescribed to a single patient, all doing the same thing. For what? For money. So we need to change our mindset. It's not all about money. It's about the welfare of the people that we are working on. Then three, we must try to win the hearts of the people that we are working with, all we are working on. How do we do that? As doctors, there's a problem that we find it time-consuming to explain to a patient what the cause of the disease is, because we believe that a patient who gets better is a client lost, and that is income lost. We should adapt to explaining to the patients what the cause and the possible solution should be for better health. It is also good because as a medical personnel, you understand the drugs and their mechanism of action, isn't it? It is always good to make an integrated management plan with your patient, because metabolic syndrome does not come overnight and it will not go. It means that you have to sit down with the patient, the caretaker, the physician, and people concerned to come up with an integrated management and treatment plan, which will help the patient to have adherence. Minus that, there is no way we can achieve. So it's the mindset, and it is what are we looking for. If you are in a medical fraternity and you're in a hospital or in a medical center, at least you better charge extra consultation charges for the extra minutes that you will spend on the patient. But when the patient has left, when he or she understands the nitty-gritties of her or his condition, minus that, there's no way we can save. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, in the family, we have a lot of work to do. And if there are guests on the call, please turn to the person who has invited you to this call and ask them, what are those doctors, those eccentric doctors talking about? Because, you've never heard doctors speak like this. And Dr. Lawi, you are still privileged to have more years in the field. I know you haven't really been in the medical field, stuck into it like the rest of us. But out there, what do you tell your people about the opportunity? I'm going to actually have a separate session on the opportunity itself in a couple of weeks' time. But how can you make it attractive to the people so that they are aware that there is money to be earned here? aside from the good health, there's money to be earned. I just want it as briefly as possible so that we don't steal the thunder from the webinar that is planned for the 28th. Dr. Lawi?
Okay, thank you very much again. Sorry for the earlier interruption, but just about the opportunity part of especially for men. Men. If you ask all the doctors in the platform, they'll tell you that the biggest cause of suicide cases and mental health cases in Africa is only on the men's side, and that's something we should look at. And if you dig in a little bit deeper, you realize most of those problems are money related. So yes, we want to live healthy. We want to. Personally, when I meet my clients, first thing I talk to them about is try to paint a picture of 10 years from now. How do you want to see your life 10 years from now? How do you want to see your health? Do you want to be walking around with a walking stick, or you want to be fit? Do you want, by the time you are 80, 90 years old, do you want to be medically fit or on a wheelchair? And when most of them, they always want to feel better. And if you want to feel better, you need to get on board with and get along with people who are thinking likewise. And Neolife gives you the platform and where you meet people who are interested in your health and interested in their health as well. So you have a company of people who are working towards a better health. And two, you want to make some money. You want to have your pockets better. You want to make more money. You want to start talking about dollars. No, it's a nice language. You want to travel the world. You want to see places. And that's something that Neolife will give you as an additional benefit. Okay, so this is something we need to encourage people, especially who are new to the guests. Try to think about how you can improve. Neolife not only gives you the money but it also gives you the time to use the money, and also the health to enjoy the money that you have made. So guys, let's get on board. Let's get started. Let's ask about how you can also improve. Ask yourself how you can get involved in this business. This is a business that can help you to change your life and transform your health. So it's something that I encourage many people to do. And if you're a guest in this platform, you should really get started. Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, and that is from a young doctor. I don't know how old you are, but you can tell us if you want. You don't have to.
I'm 37.
There you go. So
yeah,
I knew
37.
you were under 40. Look, guys, when we go into medical school, we are promised the world. I remember distinctly, I, for one, actually trying to fight going into medical school because I just saw that, no, my dream is to keep people healthy. But I went nevertheless. And I think the best thing I ever got from medical school is my darling husband, Dr. Edward Nambasi. He's been a big support because after that, I went on a search for this opportunity. I didn't know what I was searching for. All I knew is I was searching for something that I could do with honesty and integrity. And I always thank Dr. Nambasi, Edward, for being so supportive and for seeing it. Now, not every man sees it. Sorry, gentlemen. But because it is the month to celebrate your health and to really create awareness, most men wait until the very last hour. And I've said it in other webinars that attribute of men is exploited by the system to really milk the last penny out of you. And so next week, I'm going to invite women I haven't spoken to all of them yet, but I want to invite some women who might have testimonies of how they have seen men folk in their families perhaps become unwell and then recover. I want it to be a happy story, thanks to this opportunity that we have, so that there are real life messages out there. Because look, when a man is unwell, I believe it impacts families and society in a very negative way. But when men are healthy, one of my slogans is, with healthier men, we can have a much wealthier nation, a much, much wealthier nation. And so, following all that you have heard, ladies and gentlemen, are you willing to invest in necessary lifestyle changes to free yourself from dependencies? Whatever dependency it might be, alcohol, for example, so that you can live a healthier and happier life. Now, I'm addressing the men, but women are not exempt either. I just want to say that yes, as Neolife, as this family, we have a solution and we want to share that solution. Actually, there are multiple solutions. So we would like to welcome you to the family that is on a mission to make the world healthier and happier. And trust you, us, all of us that were on the panel, we are not selling anything magical. We're just saying, get out of your comfort zone and resolve to change something. And the first thing to change is your mindset. Then you'll be amazed, totally amazed, how things will work out much, much better, not only for yourself, but also for your family and for the community at large. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't like going on for too long. And as I have spelled it out, next week we are going to have some ladies talk to us. And then the week after that, I want us to talk about the business side of it. And the reason for doing that is we want to encourage men and women, but men, to actively participate wherever we are. Recently, we were in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and we saw how amazingly people are doing the business. But many people that crossed that stage were women. So my question is, in this Men's Health Month, men, get stuck into it, because this is a good place to be. So I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to give us a closing remark. Again, I'll start with Dr. Lawi and then work our way from Dr. Lawi, Dr. Baker, and Dr. Ed.
Okay, for me, what I would like to share with everyone is, let's take care of our health before things go south. In Africa, we have this mentality whereby we wait for things to get as bad as possible, then we can, especially for men, our health-seeking behavior is very poor. So we need to take care of our health before it gets on the red zone. So let's go for checkups. Let's want to know about, let's take care of, earlier I was cut out because I wanted to share a little bit about the lower abdominal fat, the tummy, the lower belly. That's something most men ignore, but it's one of the biggest red signs or red flags for poor health amongst men. Here in Tanzania, people call it, they use it to wipe the screens of their phone. So it's a joke we make, but it's very serious. So we need to improve our health-seeking behavior. And one of the best ways to do that is getting involved in a business that will look into your health. Get involved. You might not know everything about your life, but just get on board. And by being on board, you'll learn so much about health. Today, we have just given you almost less than a 1% of what your life can give you. There's so much you can learn about your health, to improve your health and your finances. So get on board, get started. You'll meet so much along the way. You have so much life ahead of you. And we want you to feel better and feel well along the way. Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you. Dr. Kabugo?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Eseza. I like women because when women are pregnant, they get through 3 trimesters. The first 3 months, the second 3 months, and the final 3 months. But the baby develops in the second trimester. Now this goes back to the men. We also have we have trimesters. The first 25 years will mark your first trimester of growth. The second trimester is maturity and reproduction. And the third is you are on your 50th floor above until you get to 75. So what I will say, what I will really recommend everyone, use your second trimester very well. It is between 25 and 50 that we misuse our bodies so that we start paying for how we misuse at 50. That is in the 3rd trimester. So all of us should use our second trimester wisely. Before you hit 45, please know your prostate. Otherwise, you will no longer be a man after 45 and above in the event that you do not try to know how you're standing. Mind your cholesterol levels. Mind your sugar intake. Because all the health challenges that men are finding in the 3rd trimester is because of neglect of the cholesterol and the sugar levels. Once we will mind that in the 2nd trimester, we will have a lovely, beautiful baby after the 3rd trimester. That is, by the time you are 76 and above, we will still look at you as a young man who is enjoying life like a newborn baby. Thank you.
So well put. I think all men should hear that. Thank you for that. Okay, and now we have our senior. I call him a young man. In fact, there's a running joke at the church that we go to. There's a friend who calls him young man, basically because despite being, I think you're double his age, he looks like your grandfather, right? But anyway, yes, Dr. Eddie.
No, thank you very much, gentlemen. Yeah, that was brilliantly put. Well done, Dr. Kabugo, Dr. Lawi. I've learned more from the two of you, and I thought I've been in this longer than you, but you always learn something as you go along. All I can say is that, yes, it's the woman in the house who determines what the food is going to be and the health of the house and how clean, etc. But it's a man in the house who is supposed to be the head of that house and a role model whom the children will follow and all the other people around. So as the men, let us set a good example of looking after our health, making sure that the younger people have got a good role model to follow, and in the way we model our life, the way we model, as I said, our relationship to the Lord, our relationship to our spouses, and how we deal with stress in general, and how we look after our diets, what we eat, etc. The so-called public opinion in my days, that was a belly fat, is not a sign of affluence. It's a sign of sickness. So let's try and get rid of that and look at this wonderful opportunity that we have in New Life, because we do have the supplements that will help, and we do have the business opportunity that will also enable you to afford the lifestyle changes that you need to make. And so with that, I'd like to thank everybody for attending, and yeah, thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, my dear, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you all. And today, 14th November, is actually the World Day of Remembering Diabetes, okay? And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, and all the guests on the call, that these awareness days, in New Life, we actually are very proactive. We don't make it another way to promote the wrong thing. We try to promote prevention, being proactive, and really taking time to become more mindful and knowledgeable about factors that lead to where you might be getting. Because remember, our system is to make you healthier and happier. We are on a mission to make the world healthier and happier, and we are proud to be on that mission. So with that, thank you very, very much. I look forward to next week already. But gentlemen, thank you. And let us really go out there and look for all those handsome men and tell them about our opportunity. And with that, we will have a healthier nation, a much wealthier nation as well. Thank you, and we'll meet again next week.